Her scream tore through the room as he went unconscious. Minjay's laugh was soft and humorless. Choice. You keep using that word like we actually have one. Don't we? Amara questioned. Before he could answer, his phone buzzed. Then again. And again. His expression shifted instantly, the vulnerable man disappearing as the enforcer took his place. He grabbed the phone, read the screen, and his face went completely blank. We need to leave, he said, already standing, pulling Amara up with him. Now, what's wrong? She asked while packing her backpack. Jung's associates. They know. He was moving toward the door, his hand tight around her wrist. Someone talked. They know you exist. They're coming. Terror flooded Amara's system, wiping away the warmth from moments before. How do they? It doesn't matter how. What matters is getting you somewhere safe before they find you. They were in the hallway now, Min-Jae moving fast but not running, not wanting to draw attention. Mr. Choi is bringing the car around back. We're going to walk calmly to the service exit, and a man stepped out of a classroom ahead of them. He was older than Min-Jae, maybe 40, with a scar running down his left cheek and eyes that held nothing but cold calculation. Two more men emerged behind him, blocking the hallway. Amara felt Min-Jae's body go rigid beside her, felt him shift slightly to put himself between her and the threat. Park Min-Jae, the scarred man said in Korean, his voice carrying down the empty hallway. The prodigal son, and his little American witness. This doesn't concern her, Kong, Min-Jae replied in the same language, his tone devoid of emotion. She's nobody. Just a girl I'm seeing. Is that so? Kong smiled, and it was the smile of a shark. Then you won't mind if we borrow her for a bit. Just to have a conversation about what she saw that night in the alley. Touch her and you're a dead man. Bold words from someone who's outnumbered. Kong gestured, and his men moved forward. We know she has footage, Minjay. Phone footage of you executing Jung. Very sloppy of you, by the way. Not your usual style. Minjay's hand moved to his side, to where Amara suddenly realized he kept a gun hidden beneath his jacket. But Kong was faster. He pulled his own weapon, aiming it directly at Amara's chest. Don't, Kong said softly. If I see your hand move another inch toward that gun, I'll put a bullet in her pretty face before you can blink. Then another in her chest. Then I'll keep shooting until I'm certain she's dead, and that footage dies with her. His smile widened. Or you can be smart. Let us take her, let us have a little chat, and maybe, we'll let her live. Amara felt Min-Jae shaking beside her, with rage, with fear, with the terrible knowledge that he was, for perhaps the first time in his life, completely powerless. You know I'll come for her, Min-Jae said, his voice deadly quiet. You know what I'll do to you. To everyone you've ever cared about. Perhaps. But first, you'll watch us take her. You'll live with the knowledge that you couldn't protect her. That your weakness. Kang's eyes flicked to where Min-Jae's hand still gripped Amara's wrist. Got her killed. Then everything happened at once. A door burst open behind them. Students poured into the hallway, laughing and chattering, completely oblivious to the standoff happening in their midst. Kang's gun disappeared into his jacket. Min-Jae pulled Amara flush against his side, his heart hammering against her shoulder. This isn't over, Kong said pleasantly, as if they'd been discussing the weather. We'll be seeing you both very soon. He and his men disappeared into the crowd of students, vanishing like they'd never been there at all. Amara stood frozen, her mind struggling to process how close she'd just come to dying. Move, Min-Jae said urgently, and they were running now, propriety be damned, racing down the hallway toward the back exits. Students stared, teachers called after them, but they didn't stop until they burst through the service door into the afternoon sun. Mr. Choi was already there, the black sedan idling with the back door open. They threw themselves inside, and the car was moving before the door fully closed. The safe house, Min-Jae barked to Mr. Choi. Then into his phone, a rapid Korean that Amara couldn't follow but understood the urgency of. He was calling in reinforcements, arranging protection, turning the full force of the Park family's resources toward keeping her alive. Amara couldn't stop shaking. Min-Jae ended his call and turned to her, his hands framing her face, checking her for injuries even though Kong hadn't touched her. Are you hurt? Did he hurt you? No, I'm fine. Just scared. Good. Fear keeps you smart. But his hands were gentle as they moved through her hair, down her arms, as if he needed the physical reassurance that she was whole. I should have seen this coming. Should have known they'd eventually figure it out. She said with a shaky voice. This isn't your fault. Min-Jae reassured herself. Everything about this is my fault. The words exploded out of him, raw and anguished. I killed Jung in public. I kept you alive instead of eliminating the witness. I brought you into my world, made you a target. And for what? Because I was too weak to do what was necessary. Stop. Amara grabbed his hands, forcing him to look at her. Stop blaming yourself for not being a monster. You saved my life that night. Multiple times since then. That's not a weakness. It is if it gets you killed. I'm not dead yet. Min-Jae's laugh was broken. Yet. Such an optimistic word. He pulled her against him suddenly, crushing her to his chest, his face buried in her hair. I can't let them have you. I can't. The things they'll do. Then don't let them. Amara wrapped her arms around him, holding him as tightly as he held her. Fight for me. Protect me. Like you've been doing all along. And if it's not enough? He asked. Then we go down fighting together. Amara replied. He pulled back to look at her, something fierce and possessive burning in his eyes. You should hate me. Should want nothing more than to get away from me and never look back. Why don't you? It was a question Amara had been avoiding asking herself. The answer should have been simple. Stockholm Syndrome, trauma bonding, survival instinct. But the truth was more complicated, messier, impossible to define in clean psychological terms. Because, she said slowly, somewhere between that alley and now, you stopped being just my captor. You became something else. Someone else. She touched his face, tracing the line of his jaw. I don't love your world or the violence or the fear. But you? The person underneath all of that? Maybe I'm starting to. She stopped herself, but Min-Jae's eyes went wide. Don't, he said, his voice rough. Don't say it. Don't feel it. It'll only make this harder when. When what? When you eventually have to choose between me and your family. When Kang's people catch up to us. When this all falls apart. Amara felt tears burning but refused to let them fall. I know this is temporary, Min-Jae. I know I'm living on borrowed time. But that doesn't change what I feel. Amara said in a rush. It should. Min-Jae told her. Well, it doesn't. She kissed him again, fierce and desperate, pouring everything she couldn't say into the contact. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, she whispered. So stop trying to push me away and just let us have this. However long it lasts. Min-Jae looked at her like she was breaking his heart. You're going to destroy me, he said quietly. Completely and utterly destroy whatever's left of who I was supposed to be. Min-Jae said in a surrendered tone, Is that so bad? Amara asked softly. Yes, because when you're gone, and you will be gone eventually, I'll have to live with having known what it felt like to be human again. And that might actually kill me. The car pulled up to a building Amara didn't recognize. Somewhere in Gangnam, from the looks of it, another expensive high-rise. Mr. Choi opened the door, and Min-Jae guided her inside with a hand on her lower back, his body language screaming protection even as his face remained carefully blank. The safe house was another penthouse, smaller than Min-Jae's but just as secure. He walked through it methodically, checking windows and exits, making calls to position security at all entrances. Amara watched him work, saw the enforcer mode click fully into place, and felt a chill run through her. This was the real Min-Jae. Not the boy who'd played piano, not the man who'd kissed her like she was oxygen. This was Park Min-Jae, heir to a criminal empire, efficient and cold and deadly. And she was falling for him anyway. God help her, but she was. Night fell over Seoul like a shroud, and with it came the truth Amara had never wanted to know. They sat in the safe house living room, Min-Jae nursing whiskey while his men secured the perimeter. The silence between them felt heavy, pregnant with unspoken words. Finally, Amara couldn't take it anymore. Tell me about Jung, she said. The real story. Why you killed him. Amara asked suddenly. Min-Jae's jaw tightened. I already told you. He was a traitor. There's more. I can see it in your face every time his name comes up. She moved closer, her hand finding his. Tell me. He was quiet for so long she thought he wouldn't answer. Then, the 3 people he got killed. One of them was supposed to be you. Amara's blood ran cold. What? Jung sold information about a shipment route to our rivals. But he made a mistake, gave them the wrong date. The people who died were covering a completely different operation. Min-Jae's voice was hollow. But the intended target was a group escorting an American exchange student who'd witnessed a minor altercation at a club. Jung's buyers wanted her dead before she could identify anyone. That's not possible. I never witnessed. Different girl. Different time. But when I was interrogating Jung, making him confess everything before I killed him. He mentioned her. Described her. Minjay finally looked at her, and his eyes were haunted. Black, American, 17, exchange student. He was looking at a photo on his phone when he said it. I saw it for just a second before he tried to delete everything. Amara's hands were shaking. What happened to her? She went home early. Luck, fate, whatever you want to call it. She left Korea 2 days before Jung's people could find her. His grip on his glass tightened. When I saw you in that alley filming, I thought, for just a moment, that history was repeating itself. Another innocent girl about to die, because she saw something she shouldn't have. So you saved me? She asked, still shocked from the reveal. I saved you because I was tired of innocent people dying for our wars. Because my mother's voice was in my head, telling me there's always a choice. He drained his whiskey. And because the moment our eyes met, something in me recognized something in you. Like you were supposed to be there. Like it meant something. Before Amara could respond, gunfire erupted outside. Min-Jae was moving instantly, pulling her to the floor, his body covering hers as windows shattered. She heard shouting in Korean, more gunshots, the sound of something heavy hitting the reinforced door. Min-Jae had his gun out, his phone pressed to his ear, barking orders while keeping himself between Amara and every possible angle of attack. The bedroom, he said urgently, hauling her up. There's a panic room. Go. Now. What about you? I'll hold them off until my men. The door exploded inward. Kong stood in the doorway, gun raised, 3 more men behind him. Minjay fired twice, dropping 2 of them, but Kong was faster than he looked. His shot caught Minjay in the shoulder, spinning him around. He went down hard, his gun skittering across the floor. Amara screamed. Kang's weapon swung toward her, and time seemed to slow. She saw his finger tighten on the trigger. Saw the cold satisfaction in his eyes. Saw her death approaching with terrible certainty. Then Min-Jae was moving again, throwing himself between them despite his wound. The bullet meant for Amara's heart buried itself in his chest instead. He collapsed at her feet, blood spreading across his white shirt like a blooming flower. No! Amara dropped beside him, her hands pressing against the wound, blood hot and sticky between her fingers. No, Min-Jae, stay with me, please. Kong stepped closer, reloading. Touching. The great Park Min-Jae, brought down by a girl. Your father will be so disappointed. But before he could fire again, the room flooded with armed men. Min-Jae's reinforcements finally arriving. Gunfire filled the air. Kong cursed and retreated, his remaining man covering his escape. When the smoke cleared, Kong was gone, but Min-Jae was dying in Amara's arms. Stay with me, she sobbed, her tears mixing with his blood. You don't get to die. You hear me? You don't get to save me and then leave me alone. That's not fair. Min-Jae's hand lifted weakly to her face, his thumb smearing blood across her cheek. Not fair, he agreed, his voice barely a whisper. Nothing about this was ever fair. The ambulance is coming, one of Min-Jae's men said urgently. Boss, hang on. Amara. Min-Jae's eyes were struggling to focus. Listen. The phone. Your phone. I kept it. Hidden safe. Evidence against me. He coughed, blood flecking his lips. If I die, use it. Trade it for your freedom. Go home. Shut up, Amara choked out. You're not dying. I won't let you. Not your choice. His smile was gentle, sad. Never was. But for what it's worth, these weeks with you, only time I felt human in years. Min-Jae, please. His eyes drifted closed. The hand on her face went slack. Amara's scream tore through the penthouse like a physical thing. The hospital hallway smelled like antiseptic and despair. Amara sat in clothes stiff with dried blood, Min-Jae's blood, while his father and brother stood nearby, speaking in low, angry Korean. She caught Min-Jae's name, heard foolish and weakness and girl, and wanted to scream at them that their son, their brother, was in surgery fighting for his life because he'd been brave enough to care about someone. But she stayed silent, invisible, a ghost haunting the edges of their family crisis. Hours crawled by. Dawn broke over Seoul, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold that seemed obscene given the circumstances. Finally, a surgeon emerged, still in scrubs, his expression carefully neutral. He spoke to Min-Jae's father in rapid Korean. Amara caught only fragments, stable, critical, touch and go. The father nodded once, dismissive, and walked away without even asking when he could see his son. The brother followed, already on his phone, probably calculating how this affected family business. None of them spared Amara a glance. Miss. The surgeon approached her, switching to English. You're the one who came in with Park Min-Jae? Yes. Is he? Will he? He's alive. Stable for now. The bullet missed his heart by centimeters. He lost a lot of blood, but he's strong. The surgeon's eyes were kind. He kept saying a name while we were working on him. Yours, I think. You must be important to him. Amara's vision blurred with tears. Can I see him? Not yet. He's in recovery, unconscious. But soon. He hesitated. There are police outside his room. They have questions about the shooting. You should be prepared. Police. Of course. The one thing Minjay had feared most: official scrutiny, investigations, evidence coming to light. Evidence. The phone. Amara's mind raced. If the police investigated thoroughly, would they find the footage? Would they use it to arrest Minjay the moment he woke up? Would saving his life in the hospital just mean condemning him to life in prison? She found herself standing outside his room hours later, watching through the window as machines beeped steadily, keeping him alive. He looked pale, vulnerable, nothing like the dangerous man who'd changed her life. A police officer stood nearby, bored and scrolling through his phone. A detective approached her, middle-aged, sharp-eyed, speaking careful English. You were with Park Min-Jae when he was shot? Yes, she replied slowly. And the men who attacked you. Can you identify them? The detective asked again. Amara thought of Kang's scarred face, his cold smile. No, it happened too fast. I was too scared. The detective studied her with the expression of someone who'd heard every lie imaginable. You're protecting him. Why? What is Park Min-Jae to you? Everything, Amara thought. Her captor, her protector, the man who'd died saving her and somehow clawed his way back. The person who'd shown her that monsters could be human and humans could be monstrous. A friend, she said finally. He's a friend. Friends don't usually take bullets for each other. Friends don't usually end up in gang shootouts. The detective pulled out a tablet, showed her a photo. We found this at the scene. A phone, hidden in a safe in Park's apartment. The safe was damaged in the attack, and Amara's heart stopped. The screen showed her phone, and on it, frozen mid-playback, was the footage from that night. Jung on his knees. Minjay raising his gun. The moment that had started everything. This is you filming, yes? The detective asked. And that's Park Min-Jae executing a man in cold blood. We've identified the victim as Jung Tae-sung, reported missing 3 weeks ago. His eyes were hard. You're a witness to murder, Miss Kim. And unless you want to be charged as an accessory, you're going to tell me everything. Amara stared at the footage, at the proof that could destroy Minjay's life, and felt the weight of an impossible choice crushing down on her. She could tell the truth. Testify against him. Exchange his freedom for hers. Go home to California, back to her real life, leave this nightmare behind. It was the smart choice, the safe choice, the choice anyone with sense would make. But when she closed her eyes, she saw Minjay playing piano, his guard finally dropped. Saw him throwing himself between her and a bullet without hesitation. Heard his voice saying these weeks with you. Only time I felt human. I can't, she whispered. Can't what? Amara looked at the detective, then at the phone, then at Minjay unconscious beyond the glass. She thought about choices, about the kind of person she wanted to be, about love that made no sense but existed anyway. I can't testify, she said clearly. That footage, it's not what it looks like. The man who died, he was threatening us. Minjay was protecting me. It was self-defense. That's a lie. Prove it. Amara's voice was steady now, certain. I'm the only witness. And I'm telling you, Park Min-Jae saved my life that night. Everything else is just assumptions. The detective's expression darkened. You're making a mistake. Protecting a criminal, throwing away your future for someone who would burn the world before letting it hurt me, Amara interrupted. Someone who saw me as a person instead of a problem. Someone who chose me when he could have chosen the easy way out. She met the detective's eyes. So yes, I'm protecting him. And no, I won't change my mind. The detective stared at her for a long moment, then shook his head. You're either incredibly brave or incredibly foolish, Miss Kim. Probably both. He closed the tablet. Without your cooperation, we don't have a case. But understand, you've tied yourself to Park Min-Jae now. Whatever happens to him, happens to you. That's the choice you're making. I know, Amara said. I choose him anyway. The detective left, taking her phone, taking the evidence, taking the last chance she had at a normal life. Amara stood outside Minjay's room, watching him breathe, and felt strangely at peace with her decision. 3 days painfully felt like 3 years, then he woke up. Amara was beside him instantly, her hand finding his. "Hey," she said softly. "Welcome back." Min-Jae's eyes focused on her slowly, confusion giving way to recognition, then to something that looked like devastation. "You're still here. Where else would I be? Home. Safe. Away from me." His voice was rough from disuse. "The detective came to question me. Said you refused to testify. Said you lied to protect me." His grip on her hand tightened. "Why?" "Because somewhere between that alley and now, I fell in love with you," Amara said simply. "And I couldn't let them take you away from me. Not when I just got you back." Min-Jae's eyes closed and a single tear tracked down his face. "You destroyed the evidence. Your only leverage. Your ticket home. I chose a different home." She leaned down, pressed her forehead to his. "I chose you. Whatever that means, whatever comes next, I choose you. They'll come for us again. Kong, the rivals, all of them. You'll never be safe. Then we fight them together. This is insane. Probably." Amara smiled through her tears. "But I'm done playing it safe. Done pretending I don't feel this. You're mine, Park Min-Jae. And I'm yours. So we figure it out, we survive, or we go down fighting. But we do it together." Min-Jae pulled her closer, his kiss desperate and grateful, and full of promises neither could guarantee they'd keep. When they broke apart, he whispered, "I love you. I shouldn't, it's dangerous, but I do. Completely." "Good," Amara said. "Because you're stuck with me now." They stayed like that, foreheads pressed together, as the sole afternoon faded into evening outside the hospital window. Two people who should never have met, who destroyed each other's lives and rebuilt something new from the rubble. Neither noticed the figure watching from across the street, a scarred face twisted with rage. Kong pulled out his phone, made a call. Park survived. And the girl, she's not leaving him. A pause. "Yes. I understand. If you won't kill her, I will. And this time, Park Min-Jae will watch." The line went dead. Kong smiled, cold and patient. The game had only just begun. If you made it all the way to the end, it means only one thing. You loved this story. And guess what? Even more intense stories like this drop every single day on this channel. So hit that subscribe button now, or you'll miss the next one.